The opinions expressed here are those of the students and do not necessarily reflect the positions of Tyler Junior College.
Coming up on the Drumbeat, an Apache sports recap, a TJC theater professor talks about his life and experience and how local animal shelters are working to resolve pet abandonment in East Texas.
The Drumbeat starts right now.
Broadcasting live from Studio 1108 in Jenkins Hall on the campus of Tyler Junior College. This is the Drumbeat, bringing you the latest from students like us.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Imogen Brown.
And I'm Baleigh Davis. Every day, pets are abandoned in East Texas. Animal rescues and shelters like Second Chance Paws are on the front lines doing what they can to resolve the issue. Reporter Lance Clements brings us the story.
A year after moving to Texas, Apollonia Cervantes founded Second Chance Paws. It is a pet rescue she runs in White House.
I love animals. I always have since I was a little girl. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but when I moved here, it was a change my career. I wanted to be rescuing animals because of how much animals get dumped here in Texas.
With the rescue now caring for 16 pets, Cervantes hopes to get a larger area to help more pets. The SPCA of East Texas is another rescue helping to resolve pet abandonment. The executive director, Emily Hegland, says people abandon animals at the shelter on occasion.
We just had 2 cats this week that were left in a cat trap right outside our door, and our staff, our animal care staff found them, 2 little stray tabby kittens that nobody wanted, and so luckily they brought them to us.
Hegland says people not fixing their pets contributes to pet abandonment through unwanted litters. She also says a poor economy can force people to abandon their pets due to the high cost of caring for a pet.
When the economy gets tough and inflation goes up, you start to see people who sometimes resort to desperate measures when it comes to, finding a new home for their pet if they can't find someone to take it. A lot of times they may feel like they have no other choice.
For more information on how to help, visit losttolovedrescue.com and spcaeasttexas.com.
Professor Jacob Davis has taught theater here at TJC for over a decade, directing productions like Frankenstein and using his experience from his 20-year career to inspire others to get involved. Lance Clements tells us more.
From a small town called Bledsoe, theater professor Jacob Davis has worked at TJC for about 13 years. Davis says the time with his brothers during his childhood majorly impacted his life. His earliest memory of theater is watching his oldest brother perform in a high school production.
I might have been like 8 years old, and just seeing my brother that I knew was a different person, and that kind of like piqued my interest in kind of the magic that is theater.
Although theater was not his main goal initially, he got into it because of his brothers.
I was much more what people would call a jock in high school. I mean, I did everything. I was student council and in the band, but I really enjoyed football a lot. And so I did theater because my brothers did it.
In his senior year of high school, Davis received scholarship offers for football at Blinn College and theater at TJC. He ultimately chose TJC.
I chose Tyler to get further away from home, the most away from home that I could. And so that's kind of how I first was introduced to East Texas, and then fell in love with theatrical design and kind of made my way back to TJC later on in life.
Later, after graduating from TJC and Texas Tech, he pursued a Master of Fine Arts in Lighting Design. He then did contract work, designing across America. However, he wanted to find a way for him to be home more with his family.
After designing for a while, started a family, had a kid, wanted to kind of be able to be at home more, and so looked for jobs in education. And it just so happened that TJC, being my alma mater, had a position opening and applied and came back here.
Davis says his favorite aspect of TJC is the friendly relationships between students and faculty. William Kinsel, a TJC theater major and sophomore, has known Davis since his freshman year. He says Davis is fun and their conversations are memorable.
I think even outside of theater, I would still enjoy him as a professor, and I would still and I would still enjoy talking to him and interacting with him because he's a fun guy and I like working with him.
Kinsel has taken many of Davis's classes and says that he has learned a lot from Davis. Davis encourages anyone interested to try theater, even if they're afraid. He also has some advice for those wanting to pursue theater as a career.
The best thing for you to be successful is to observe and watch as much theater as you can. You learn so much by analyzing what you see, but also to observe and analyze the world around you.
Head to thedrumbeat.com for the full story.
And in sports, Apache softball kicked off a doubleheader between TJC and Blinn College on February 8th. The Lady Apaches continued their winning streak with dominating wins of 11-1 and 13-2, improving their record to 8-0 on the season. Peyton Bray shined in the first game with 3 hits, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs, while Elena Hernandez dominated the second game with 3 hits, 6 RBIs, and 3 runs.
Later that day, TJC men's basketball would also take on Blinn College in a decisive victory with a score of 85-72. Chris Uweo Jr. finished with 23 points, while Kayden Bell and Joey Brown both finished with 20 points each respectively, improving their record to 13-10, with just 7 games remaining before tournament play.
And coming up after the break, a conversation with Kayden Loudermilk, who stars in the upcoming production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. Why? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. Joining us is Kayden Loudermilk, who is cast as Jesus in the theater department's upcoming production of Jesus Christ Superstar. So, tell us, Kayden, what are you most excited for in this production of Jesus Christ Superstar?
Man, there's so much to be excited about, but I really think that the main thing that I'm excited for is to showcase this show to everyone that has been waiting to see it and that has been anticipating it. I know, considering it's Doc, the director's last show, there's a lot of people that are showing up to support him. So, you know, that's a heavy burden, but it's also a blessing to be able to show that off to them. So I'm super excited to let them all see what we've been working on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how did you prepare for your role? And what was the most challenging aspect of bringing your character to life?
Man, there's a lot of challenging things about it. First off, playing Jesus Christ is obviously, there's a lot of difficulties that come with that, just because he's such a historic figure. But I'd say that the hardest part for me has been really trying to set myself in the rock vocals, in the rock style of the show. It is some high singing, and I've been doing a lot of research into like other rock singers, like Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses, the lead singer of a couple other different rock bands, and really trying to train my voice to get to that level so I can demonstrate, Jesus's anguish through these insanely high rock notes.
Absolutely. And how is this production bringing something new to Jesus Christ Superstar?
Oh, man, I could tell you so many things, but Doc Crawford, he's so brilliant, and he's really taking sort of an expressionistic and symbolic take on Jesus Christ Superstar, which kind of strips away some of like the unnecessary fluff, and really lets us hone in on the message of Jesus told through the eyes of Judas Iscariot. It's really
That sounds very exciting. And what do we as the audience have to look forward to in this upcoming production?
Man, so much. It's just great. It's an hour and 25 minutes of nonstop action. There's no intermission. There is some great rock vocals in there. The guy that plays Judas, he's also just so phenomenal. So much talent, and I feel like really everyone is so completely committed that anyone who is sitting in a chair in the audience can really be transported with us and get some exhilarating rock vocals and a good story mixed in there as well.
Talking about the amazing production, where will tickets be offered for both TJC students and the community alike?
Well, you can find tickets online at either the TJC box office website, or you can call the box office using the number that is provided, or you can stop by the Rogers Palmer's Performing Arts Center, pick up your tickets there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up after the break, we'll have more with Kayden Loudermilk from Jesus Christ Superstar.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
We have a gun.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner.
Oh? Excellent. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
Welcome back to the DrumBeat. We're back with Kayden Loudermilk, who plays Jesus in the theater department's upcoming performance of Jesus Christ Superstar. So, Tell us, Kayden, what has been your biggest takeaway or lesson from working with the other cast members?
Man, I really do feel like you learn a lot from working with other people, especially in a theater setting, and especially in an ensemble-heavy show, such as this. But I really feel like the main thing that I have learned from this group is that you have to be able to like rely on other people and allow other people to be your support system. And they are such a great support system. I always feel supported by my fellow castmates, and they're all just wonderful people.
That's amazing. So, what can you tell us about the set and what creating it was like?
Okay, so there's a couple of different aspects of the set, but the two main pieces I'd say would be the Alpha and the Omega symbol. We turned it into sort of a platform that sits near the center of the stage, and that's symbolism in itself of how Jesus came to earth as the Alpha and the Omega. And then we also have a large temple that we've built. It's sort of a temple backdrop with large pillars that extend up. They're pretty big. I'd say they're about like 15 feet up in the air. They're huge. But yeah, so I'd say that the temple and the platform are the two main aspects of the set for sure.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us about you. How did you decide to be involved in theater to begin with?
Oh man, that's a long story. Well, I lived in Africa pretty much all of my life whenever I was growing up. So I moved back to America for the beginning of my time in high school, and my parents were missionaries in Africa, and we did work there. But we had always done like skits for like people in impoverished communities. We'd add that into our work whenever we would go and bring out food. And so I was like, man, what am I going to do that's going to be like my thing? And I decided baseball. And I quickly found out that baseball was not within my talents. And so my theater teacher, and I was just taking theater as like the elective class at the time. And I was like, okay, I'll get it over with. She's like, you should audition for this musical production of Into the Woods. And I was like, okay, I mean, if it gives me like extra credit, sure. And I did, and I was cast as an understudy, and it was still the most magical experience of my life, and I've been doing it ever since. I love it.
Oh, we're so glad that you made it here.
Yeah.
In what ways has this role specifically as Jesus challenged your perspective on yourself as an actor or your artistry as a whole?
It is. It's just hard to play Jesus Christ. I've done it before in a play called Godspell, but this is a very different sort of take on it since it's through the eyes of Judas Iscariot. So it's a more gritty, humanistic take on Jesus Christ. So having to separate that from the more circus, fun-loving, more, I guess, stereotypical idea of who Jesus was versus his actual humanity. I'd say that that's been my biggest challenge, is really making sure that I can reinvent the character for the needs of this production.
Right. And with that, how do you, as a human, as a person, take care of your own mental health when doing that?
Oh, for sure. I think that a big part of it is knowing when to take a break. I think that deals, because something is like your vocal health is very tied in with your mental health. If I'm having a rough day vocally and it's showing on stage, that's something that frustrates me mentally and it frustrates me emotionally. So for me, I try to, if I'm having a rough night out there, I'll take a break. I'll go, I'll sit down for 5 minutes before we go back into it. Or I'll mark for the rest of the performance. Just something that takes a little bit of the pressure off of me just for a little bit, so I can regather myself, go out there and do the best that I can.
And that's a great lesson to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
And what are you hoping that the audience will take away from the performance?
I hope that anyone that comes and sees this production takes away the truth of the message of Jesus Christ. And I don't think it has to be in a way that is necessarily Christian in any sense, but just sort of the truth of how he cared for the people around him, and the truth of sacrificing yourself for people that are close to you. I really think that that's an important message that we can learn, in today's day and age, is caring for each other and, having the compassion that Jesus had.
And that's really beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us today, Kayden.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Coming up after the break, we asked students about their favorite rom-com in this week's Drumbeat on the Street.
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. We have one last story for you.
On this week's Drumbeat on the Street, we asked students about their favorite rom-com.
Not exactly a rom-com, but it is romance. I like Scott Pilgrim. It's kind of stupid, but I think it's silly. I like Michael Cera, and I like Kieran Culkin.
Abbott Elementary, it displays Gregory and Janine as the main love choices, and I love how they did their friends to lover.
That is it for us here at the Drumbeat. Thank you for joining us today.
And remember, you can always get the latest news at thedrumbeat.com or by downloading the Drumbeat app.
The opinions expressed here are those of the students and do not necessarily reflect the positions of Tyler Junior College.